This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Eldorado Gaming. Eldorado Gaming is your site for gifts and gaming accessories like dice, playmats, and other items to bling out your games. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Find us on YouTube at Eldorado Gaming TX or our home site at eldoradogaming.com. Here at My Mythical Meta, we talk about gaming with friends and strangers, resolving conflicts, and keeping game nights fun, interesting, and recurring. Our game of choice is Magic the Gathering, but our hope is that what we share is relevant for board gamers, RPG groups, video gamers, and maybe even your poker night. I'm Travis, and with my brother Benjamin and my friends Derek and Randy, we've been playing Magic together since 2014. The secret to a healthy meta is not in the game you play, it's being good friends. Subscribe to My Mythical Meta, presented by Eldorado Gaming, wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to My Mythical Meta. Welcome back, Randy and Benjamin. Y'all say hi.
Howdy.
Hello.
We hope you are having a wonderful start to your holiday week. This episode should be coming out on December 25th. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Have a great week out there with your family and friends. Derek is unfortunately out for our recording today because it's his anniversary.
Aww.
I know. I hope that he and his wife are keeping it interesting and pushing their relationship to the next level.
Hot.
You know, keeping it steamy on this frigid Houston Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know anything about what the weather's going to be like on Christmas?
My guess is it's going to be a balmy 75 degrees.
I feel like the last couple of Decembers have been 80.
Yeah, it's about right where we are. It won't get cold till February. Then we'll have a massive freeze. Everything will fall apart. Yeah. And then it'll be hot again.
The infrastructure will fall. Texas will fall as a whole.
Yep, pipes will burst in the city. The power grid will completely fail.
I'll see y'all at the governor's house as we raid it to burn stuff for warmth.
We'll get emails from ERCOT asking us to conserve energy.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, you're the energy company.
Do your job.
Like, don't ask me to do your job. Anyway, today's topic is holiday gaming.
Woo!
Woo!
Yay.
Holiday gaming. Thanksgiving, all of your December holidays, New Year's Eve, all of these are times for family and friend gathering, especially family gathering during this holiday season. It's usually a time where society dictates we have to spend time with our families. What do you guys think about that? Should society have a say on who we spend our holidays with?
No.
Yes.
I like that we disagreed.
Look, we live in a society. Sometimes society doesn't want to deal with you. They want to send you back where they came from. And I'm fine with that. You know what? You and I probably wouldn't have been as close if I didn't have to come home for the holidays every so often.
Yeah.
So it worked out for us.
Yeah, I think it worked out. Games are a perfect way to fill up that time. Games smooth over that social time. In the best case scenario, when those games are fun and you have fun playing them, those games can create deeper bonds. In episode 1, we talked about what makes a good friend and the people that you should seek to game with. That quality is called propinquity, the people that you spend time with. Time by itself is something that creates deeper bonds. Today's episode is a showcase of games that we have played with our families, that we go to for the holidays, games that smooth over that social time. Anything you guys want to add to today's topic before we start reviewing and just gushing about great games?
I will say this, that many of my family members I am close to because of games. You know, I think gaming with my family has definitely made me who I am today. And so I feel like it's very important to not just think of games as something that you just do to pass the time, but to really see it as a great bonding experience.
Yeah. Don't let my snark ruin the opportunity to really get closer with your family this holiday or your friends. these activities, these games really do create a deeper bonding experience.
Yeah. The family that games together stays together.
That's true. Randy, anything you want to add? My family doesn't really play games.
No, we do.
Yeah.
Not as much anymore. I feel like now that like a lot of my grandparents are gone, they were the
Sure.
big like catalyst of it. But we usually play a few different like card games. I don't know. For me, it's never been as great as when they were around.
Yeah.
That is definitely an interesting point. I think it is something from a previous generation that has kind of gone away a little bit.
Yeah.
I know that our family doesn't play nearly as many games as we did when Pawpaw was alive.
That's true.
My grandfather, Pawpaw Butch, died in 2017, and the entire dynamic of our family really did change. We did spend time differently, and I think Pawpaw was a major part of that. And I really like, Benjamin, at holidays, you and your family will bring games to play, and you'll kind of initiate like, hey, let's gather around the table and play a game.
Yeah.
Because once Pawpaw left, I think part of that environment shifted in our family. Mm-hmm. And so I like that you and Sarah have kind of taken up the mantle and been like, no, this is still a gaming family. and we're still going to play together.
Yeah. Which is funny because growing up, I never realized that he was the initiator of games because I always felt like we played a lot of Boggle, Scrabble, Sequence, all of those things. And I guess I always got the impression that Momo was the better gamer and I always felt like she was my main competition. Mm-hmm. But it really is, I think, Pawpaw who wanted to do that most of the time. And so... yeah, it's good insight.
It might have just been that Pawpaw was like, we are a family.
Well, he was like that, yes.
And we are going to sit around this table together for the next 3 hours.
Right.
Here are your options.
It reminds me of the scene from Signs when they're having that dinner at the end.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, well, there's
That
a
is
scene at the end
that is
where,
a gap
where
in my
he's just
popular
like,
culture.
Like, we're going to have dinner together, and we're going to like it, and you're going to eat your food.
Yeah.
It's funny because I reference Signs all the time because every time somebody leaves a glass of water out, I'm like, I feel like I'm in Signs.
I mean, Randy, I think that was an interesting insight that you think your family games less once that older generation has moved on. And I think the same is true in Derek's family if he was here, because I remember his grandma and grandpa were big dominoes players. They were even playing when I would go over there to hang out with Derek. It's just a way that they spent time together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've definitely interacted with a lot of other families where dominoes or cards is definitely how the older generation initiates getting to know somebody like me.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's because you can tell so much about a new person by how they play a game. Right? Find out how good of a winner or loser they are. Mm-hmm. Find out a little bit about their intelligences, strengths, and weaknesses.
Are they funny? Can they hold a conversation?
Yeah.
So today, listen to this episode and then go to your family's house, wherever you're going, or maybe you have family coming over to your house. Use these games as a way to maybe reignite a relationship that has drifted apart, or as a way to solidify a bond with somebody that you care about.
The first category of games is going to be those that you just play with maybe one other family member. We've titled them the one-on-one bonding games. And they range the skill level from the most basic things like Connect 4 or Guess Who. Mm-hmm. They can range all the way up to games like Go or Chess or Stratego. These are the ones that people often have the fondest memories of growing up with their dad, for example, and playing these kinds of games. I know last week, maybe it wasn't last week, but Derek talked about finally beating his dad at a game of chess.
Yeah, coming back after all these years and completing a rivalry with his dad.
Yeah, and I remember the same thing. I never did get to beat my dad at a game of chess. He dominated me for his entire life.
Yeah.
But I remember playing chess and Stratego with Pawpaw. I remember playing Othello with Pawpaw.
I think I remember playing Othello with Mom.
Yeah? Well, yeah, I remember playing with her too, but I remember it was definitely Pawpaw who first taught me.
Okay.
And I played Stratego with Dad and with Papa. And those are the sorts of memories where once you bond with someone over a game like that, you can take that memory with you forever, even after they're gone. Those are some big ones. When I think back on all the family who are gone and think about my fondest memories with most of them are usually games like this, where it was just the two of us. It could be a lot of different situations. It could be a battle of wits, where it's intense and you spend a lot of time in thought, or it could be fun, full of banter, full of trash talk and jokes and silly bonding time, or it could be where the game was not the focus and really you were just using that as an excuse to just get to know each other on a deeper level. And all of those are really important and valuable and lead to some lifelong memories.
Yeah. We are going to talk about these games again later in a different category, but a lot of trading card games are one-on-one battle games. So, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and the Pokemon trading card game. Those are games that Benjamin and I bonded over.
Yeah.
We played Pokemon cards when we were in middle school together, but as part of, I want to say it was episode 1 or 2, when you and I reconnected after I graduated from college, it was over playing Magic the Gathering. That was just the activity that we used to reconnect and become good friends again.
There are lots of good games in this category. We've mentioned a few like chess and Stratego, Othello, checkers, Connect 4. I like games like those where there's no luck. It truly is a battle of wits. That's a perfect way to get someone one-on-one and create a rivalry over. Mm-hmm. But even with kids, you can do things like Guess Who, things like basic trading card games like you mentioned.
Battleship is just tons of fun because it's mostly luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a ton of strategy in that game other than like once you get a hit, you keep going down the line.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I'm sure all the hardcore battleshippers out there would come at me for this, but...
if you know a way to always win Battleship, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, if you're a hardcore Battleship player, maybe you're one of Mr. Campagna's high school kids who plays Battleship online on your laptop when you're supposed to be listening.
Maybe wait till you graduate to tell me about that.
No, leave us a comment now. Don't you want them to leave you a comment now, Benjamin?
If you leave me a comment now, I will let it slide in class.
Ooh, okay. I don't know. I think if any of my teachers said that, and then later you're like, what are you doing? You're like, hey, I commented on your video. You can't say anything.
Well, there you go. Students, you heard
got
it here.
me.
If you are looking for more game options for kids specifically, go back to episode 15. In episode 15, we have Benjamin's wife and daughter, Sarah and Margaret, and they talk about games that work really great for kids under 10. So if you're interested in game options and a little bit of philosophy about what good gaming looks like for kids, check out episode 15. And in that same vein, I wanted to bring up some spelling and word games.
Yeah, we've mentioned a lot of the games that we've bonded over with our family, but some of the big ones were Boggle, Scrabble, and Bananagrams, which just all happen to be spelling games and word games where you identify a word and score points for it. And man, the gaming that we did with Momo and Pawpaw was almost always Scrabble. And that was one of my earliest and longest rivalries. And in fact, probably still is. I don't know that I've consistently beat Momo at Scrabble. I know that I got to where I could, and we were probably pretty evenly matched.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll challenge her over the break coming up. Now, I know that I've gotten to where I consistently beat her at Boggle. Beat everybody at Boggle. Which, by the way, yeah. Hey, if you think you can beat me...
Oh, no, I know I can't. It's okay.
No, I'm talking to our listeners. If you think
okay.
If you think you can beat me at Boggle, I know they have several Boggle variants online. I'm happy to try.
Benjamin, does your school still have the guidance period?
Yes.
Hey, challenge Mr. Campagna during guidance.
Yeah, because we're not doing anything else.
Oh!
So, yeah, I'm open for it. But anyways, those sorts of games, if your family can read and write, then they make great games for people of all ages, and they really help with pattern recognition, spelling, things like that. And I think it's a huge part of why Travis and I are such good spellers and readers, is because we played all these word games growing up.
It might sound lame to talk about a spelling game, but truly, if you're playing with kids, man, I really do think that they played a part in making us all good spellers and readers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing worse than you spelling out a word in Scrabble and then somebody challenging it and you being wrong.
Yep.
Like, I don't know that I could stand the shame if that happened today.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to be like, well, look at the time. Time to head on out.
Make
Time
like
to
a
hit
baby.
the old dusty trail. Time to make like a tree and get out of here.
Okay, Biff.
Randy, what are some games that y'all played at holidays?
So for me growing up, it was a lot of dominoes, specifically Mexican Train, which, man, nowadays I would need a reminder on how to play that for the most part. I mean, no, okay, thinking about it, I kind of remember. Mostly dominoes on both sides of my family was like the go-to game for us in the holidays. After grandparents passed away, I feel like last few years it's been more card games. My sister-in-law, Crystal, she has brought two games in particular called Five Crowns and Phase 10. And I do not remember the difference between them.
Phase 10 is a big hit in our family, but I've never learned how to play it.
Oh,
yeah, I just know
But
that
I
there's
know
like
my mom and
there's,
papa used to play it all the time.
there's more than 10 rounds, but like you have to be like the first one to get 10 different, I guess, achievements. Like, oh,
Yeah.
round one, I got my 2-pair.
Is it like Yahtzee?
no.
I've never played Yahtzee.
Where you're trying to
What?
get certain hands of numbers?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
They give you a card that has a list of like what
Randy,
each
you never
phase.
played Yahtzee?
No.
You can go to ElDoradoGaming.com and buy sets of metal D6 and
I will
use
have to do
promo
that.
code Xmas23.
Yeah.
What do I get for using promo code Xmas23?
You get 23% off your entire order.
Whoa, that's a steal.
And since this episode is coming out on Christmas Day, December 25th, that means this is the last day to use that code.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
Oh
about
man,
that.
I better hurry up.
That's right, guys. You can use it today, the day this episode comes out, December 25th.
That Christmas money you just got from Grandma.
But after that, go back to the old code, META, for 10%.
Yep. Anyway, Five Crowns, Phase 10, those have been pretty popular. Uno with my girlfriend's side of the family. We played that last time, and they're pretty cutthroat. They do all the rules that make it just like draw two. Oh, I also have a draw two, and you just keep stacking it
Yeah.
until someone doesn't have it, and then it's like, well, you're screwed.
Yeah. Uno's a great family game.
Yeah.
It's just an absolutely great family game because it's so modal and there are so many varieties and so many different rules to how you can use these cards. You can make whatever house rules your family has fun with.
Yeah. And you don't really have to keep track of like points or any other kind of system. It's literally like, what's in my hand is what you got to work with. And there's no like, I know some card games, it's like, okay, at the end of this round, I had this many cards left in hand, so that means this many points against me, and lowest score wins kind of thing. It's like, yeah, you don't have to worry about points. It's just, if you win, you win. And then
Right.
you go on to the next round.
Our family always kept score with card games.
I mean, there are some games we play where you do, you know, I think Five Crowns and Phase 10, there's like a thing where you want to have the lowest score, I believe, because it means that you're going out, you're completing the round or whatever.
Yeah, you're emptying your hand.
Yeah, you're not getting stuck with cards in hand. And those were probably the first, like, strategy games that I learned playing Mexican Train, trying to line up dominoes. You know, like, okay, everything's lining up. Oh, I'll play this one, then this one, and they're all lining up. And then, you know, whatever wild cards you had would go hopefully eventually on the Mexican Train,
Right.
which was like a community line that anyone could play on if they didn't have a play on their own line.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about getting regular dominoes. You want 5 and 10 variations on 5 and 10. Whatever,
Right.
to get your points. Mexican Train is you want to get all your dominoes out of hand first, and if you don't have any play at all, you have to draw. You know, get a kind of drawing a card. Like, did I draw a card? Did I get anything? No. And I can't remember if
Right.
you just draw one and then pass, or you just draw until
Draw
you
until you get a
something.
play.
Yeah. So sometimes you get like, I think you just draw and you get like 6 dominoes. It's like, oh
Yeah.
god, I have twice the number of dominoes than my opening hand did.
Our
So,
domino game was Chicken Foot,
yeah, I played that too.
where you start off with one of the doubles and it goes in the center.
Mm-hmm.
I know our Chicken Foot set had like a little wooden carousel that you would set the center domino in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Although I'm certain you can play without it. You would set up a certain number. I think it was 6.
Yeah.
Because we played with sets of 9. Our dominoes went up. Ugh. Our
Dominoes.
dominoes went up to 9s. But anyway, you set up one in the center, and then you just play until you get more doubles, and you're trying to score and ultimately go out, like you said before. Listeners, with a deck of cards, there are endless varieties of games that you can play with lots of players or one-on-one. Card games around your kitchen table are a great way to get to know people. Our family card game was called Hand and Foot, and I introduced to my family 2 different girlfriends over playing Hand and Foot. And the one where it went well is my wife. So playing cards and playing a game is a great way to get to know somebody. And like Benjamin said before, you can learn a lot about a person's personality from the way they play cards. Any other games y'all want to talk about?
Yeah, for card games, poker. I definitely played so many games of poker with my dad, with all sides of our family, with your dad, right? And we've brought up poker many, many times on this channel, but it's just one of those things that's just, I feel like was a constant source of bonding and entertainment and kind of a way to trash talk too, especially on dad's side of the family. I have a memory of going to a poker tournament with my dad, and we were the last 2. We had beat everybody else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I had a bigger stack than he did.
You know, Benjamin, we were talking about king making. Did you and your dad collude in order to be the last 2 people?
No, and well, maybe he did, but I was in it to win it. So let me tell you, so we were the last 2 people, and I had a bigger stack, and so he was like, hey, you want to split the pot? And I said, no, I wanted to. And he proceeded to take all my money.
Ooh, got you.
Yeah.
That is so funny. That's so Pat, too. I love that.
Yes. So, yeah, poker's a big one, and there's so many variations of just poker. And look, if your family's not into gambling, use M&Ms, use toothpicks. I remember
we did marshmallows one time when I was a kid.
I remember playing with different colored goldfish.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, you can eat your goldfish, but once you're out of goldfish, you're out of goldfish. I don't know what to tell you.
I remember, you may have been too young, but it was at their old house off of Kaler Road that we played 21 late into the night with matchsticks. Yeah. Betting games don't have to involve money if you don't want them to. But the other one, I feel like we would be remiss in talking about dominoes without talking about the state game of Texas, which is 42. And I didn't learn 42 till late in life. I learned it whenever I started going to visit the family of a girl that I was interested in, and her family, especially her grandparents, would play 42, and they taught me how to play. And I love it. It's one of the few games where I wouldn't say I'm a master at it. I'm not necessarily great at it, but it's just always caught my attention. It's really interesting to me because it's like spades or bridge, that sort of betting and taking tricks type game. But it's played with dominoes. And because it's played with dominoes, your suits are the other numbers on the domino. So if you have a 5-6 domino, it is the 5 of 6s and the 6 of 5.
Interesting.
And
I've never heard of that.
No, me neither.
That's funny. It is the state game of Texas. It is widely played, probably amongst the older generations.
I feel like you need to be wearing a cowboy hat to play it.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Probably drinking a Lone Star.
Probably.
PBR.
Yeah, I can teach y'all to play sometime. If you like spades, then it's a game that you'll like. It's very similar.
Cool.
I've never learned spades either.
Randy, I feel like we've let you down as friends.
I don't know spades.
What?
Or bridge or canasta. There's lots of card games I don't know.
Sure, but to me, spades is one of those things I played so much in high school that I feel like, how is it possible?
I mean, I played a lot of Egyptian rat screw in high school.
Yeah.
And at Boy Scout camp when I was on staff. Because you would just be in the Buffalo Hall and kids in between classes would come in. Hey, let's play ERS. I'm going to beat you. And I'd be like, okay. I got nothing else to do, kid.
Right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And that kind of brings us to our next category. Our next category is called party games. And these are games that are, by design, made to make you laugh. They are made to be funny, and they're made to start conversations. So, obviously, there's Apples to Apples, which is the family-friendly version of Cards Against Humanity, which is an adults-only version. And the way these games work is you go around the table, and each person takes turns being the picker, or the judge. And they draw a card that has a scenario or a category on it. And then everybody else has a hand of cards, and they pick the card that they think matches that scenario the best. And then the judge reads out all of the choices, and they pick the card that they like the best. There are lots of games that follow this gameplay pattern, What Do You Meme? The Game of Things.
Dixit.
I really like Dixit as kind of an artwork version of this game.
Yes.
Of picking which piece of art fits your category or your clue best.
Yeah.
I want to give a special mention here to Cranium.
Yeah.
Cranium has lots of different categories and games all built within its one box set. And that was Kristen's family's game of choice for a long time. And I am very proud to say that one game night when it was me, Kristen, Derek, and Randy, we took turns. We played 3 different games, and that way we teamed up with each other person, and I was on the winning team all 3 times. So I'm pretty good at Cranium.
He's like, I'm the best friend.
I know you each the best because I can read your minds the best.
Mm-hmm.
Wits and Wagers, Balderdash, these are games that include a little bit of bluffing, but still trying to get people to have fun and ultimately just say silly things.
Yeah.
Randy, talk to us about monikers.
Man, monikers is basically my, like, if I had to pick, let me start over. Monikers is probably one of my favorite, like, party games.
Yeah.
You know, Travis compared it to Celebrity. Sounds like it's the same thing, but
It's the same thing.
But for those who don't know, monikers is basically you draw 10 and then, like, you pick 6 of them or something like that. And then
Something
everyone
like
puts
that,
those 6 into a pile. You shuffle them. You do your teams.
On each of these cards is the name of a famous person. I feel like that's important.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes it's not just people, though. I thought there were other things besides people.
Sometimes it's a place, or sometimes it might be like a fictional character.
Yeah. Nouns. They're all nouns.
They are all nouns, yeah.
Anyway, and so round 1, you get to basically play the game of Taboo. You can say words to your partners to lead them to that, but, you can't say the word itself,
Mm-hmm.
With your time, I think you get about a minute each team does, and then you just keep going until all the cards are guessed. Anyway, round 2 is you need to say one word, and we've always played with, if you say well, that's your one word, so be careful. But you say one word to remind the person of what that card could be.
Gotta get good.
Yeah. And then round 3 is my favorite, charades. I feel like I'm pretty good at the charade portion.
Dude, you're really good at the charade portion. Oh, yeah.
Like I can tear through those cards whenever I'm up there doing the charades. I feel like I can just... I don't know how it is from the outside looking in. I feel like people guess them really fast. I'm just like moving.
Oh, yeah.
In 60 seconds. So,
dude, I love playing monikers. I can't believe we haven't gotten Nikki to play monikers with us yet. How has that not happened?
Hey, we're meeting on the 31st. Let's do it then.
Yeah. Okay. Our New Year's Eve game is going to be monikers.
Yay.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be tons of fun.
Yeah, that's my fave. We can do guys versus girls and all that.
Ooh, yeah.
Couples.
And we can just do 3 teams. Yeah, couples.
Yeah.
We could even swap.
Oh.
What? We got to keep it interesting.
Me and Derek should swap because Nikki says that she feels like a female version of Derek sometimes. And I'm like, well, I feel like me and his Kristen agree on a bunch of stuff against him sometimes. So
my God.
Me and Nikki are like, I'm the female. Or
You
I'm the
both
male
fell
version
in love with
of
the other version of each other.
Yeah, Kristen's the female version of me. A lot more politically correct.
Yeah.
I'm better now. And then
he claims.
Anyway. That'd be fun, but then I don't want to leave you and Kristen high and dry on that mix up.
Oh no, that'd be fine. We'll just stay with each other.
Or maybe we'll do a thing of 2 teams of 3 and we'll just split y'all up.
Yeah, that'd work.
All right.
I'll be your third any day.
Oh. Be my Huckleberry?
Yeah, I'll be your wingman.
That's my go-to game. I want monikers. It's a lot of fun. It's fast-paced. Probably a whole game can be done in like 20 minutes probably.
Yeah, cool. Benjamin, any other party games that jump out to you?
Sounds like Taboo is sort of like monikers, but similar party games that my wife's family plays a lot. They really like something called Just One, where there's a word that someone who's it is trying to guess, and everyone's allowed to write one word on their little card, basically. But before the person can look at the cards, everyone else has to compare the cards, and any card that's duplicated doesn't get shown to them.
Ooh.
Let's say we're trying to get you to guess Mario.
Uh-huh.
So somebody might write Nintendo, somebody might write plumber, somebody might write Italian or Luigi or whatever. But if 2 people write Nintendo, then the person guessing will not be shown Nintendo.
Oh, very interesting. So you have to try to make sure that your word is still different from everybody else's, but still helpful.
Right, and you don't know what they're putting till you show everybody and it's too late. So they can get just one. That's a fun one. Press Conference is a hilarious party game where somebody leaves the room and then everyone decides who that person is. And then, normally games like this are like, 20 questions or whatever. But instead of them coming out and asking you questions, it's like they're at a press conference, so everybody starts asking them questions. It's a lot of fun, and it really puts you on the spot when you're the person. So, like, let's say that they are Indiana Jones, you've decided. Well, when they come out, they don't know that they're Indiana Jones, and you might ask them something like, hey, so now that you're back, tell us about your time in Egypt. And then they'll just okay. They'll start talking about their time in Egypt and whatever. And you say, with your academic job, how do you find so much time for exercise?
That's funny.
Things like that. Sometimes they'll do really, really weird things. Like one time, Sarah was my beard.
Oh my God.
And of course, when you're playing with kids, you have to try to find references that they would know, trying to find questions that aren't extremely obvious, but still work. Because sometimes if you ask the wrong question early on, it just immediately clues them in on who they are, which of course takes away a lot of the fun. But then on the flip side, sometimes it's real easy to get hyper fixated on a question, like as the person who's it, and miss a bunch of other clues. And the best players are the ones who, when they're it, they just answer, they go off on a story, because again, the goal is of a game like this is to have fun and not to win. So if they say,
Right.
how was your time in Egypt? Oh man, it was great, and I got to go into the pyramids and hang out with the pharaoh and all this stuff, and they're sitting there laughing and imagining Indiana Jones saying all this.
That's really cool. One of the party games that I like is Hive Mind. Mm-hmm. And you saying just one and describing its rules reminded me of Hive Mind. In Hive Mind, you are given a question like, write down the 5 worst states in the United States. And you get more points for the number of other people who put the same things as you, rather than people who put different things as you. So there have been lots of times where I have things that I would put, but I look around and I'm like, no, what is Kristen going to put? Because I might put Oklahoma on my list.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I wanted to say 1, 2, 3, Oklahoma.
But, if Kristen is in the game and she's from Oklahoma, she's not going to put that on her list. She might put Texas instead. If I'm in our normal group with me, Derek, Randy, Kristen, and Nikki, I might put both Texas and Oklahoma on my list in order to make sure that I'm going to try to get Randy's point and get Kristen's point.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to throw Florida in there too.
Yeah. There are some other games like Codenames that are really fun too, which is more of these like, I'll give you a clue, you see if you can guess it kind of games. I forgot earlier, and it was even in the outline, when talking about card games, I wanted to make sure to mention Sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Sequence is a wonderful game that anybody can learn how to play. It only takes 15 to 20-ish minutes per game, and you can find it at Walmart for like $12. It's a lot of fun. I'm not going to go into all the rules and stuff, but I wanted to make sure it got listed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a set of games out there I've kind of lumped together as social deduction games, where one person has a hidden role or a hidden power, and everyone else is trying to find out who the special person is or what that person's special power is. The games that I know from this category, there's a game called The Resistance, and then One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Yep.
Pretty sure Ultimate Werewolf has lots of variations of it now.
Town of Salem.
Yeah, there's not only just a bunch of expansion packs, but other versions of the same game too. So there's One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak, there's One Night Ultimate Alien, One Night Ultimate Vampire, and all kinds of stuff like that. If you've ever played the game Mafia, which is just another party game where each card has a different role on it, and then you take turns where the Mafia players get to kill people while everybody else's eyes are closed. Just in the game. They don't, actually kill people.
Right, of course. There's actually a really fun version called Bang.
That's right, yeah. Where, one person's the sheriff and
Yeah.
they get to make special choices, but then it's another person's job to protect the sheriff and another person's job to be the outlaws or something like that.
Yeah.
So those can be a lot of fun. Personally, I really hate social deduction games.
Oh.
Just because I'm just so bad at them. I cannot keep a straight face when I'm trying to play them.
I enjoy them. I think that they are harder to do for long periods of time compared to like card games. I feel like those games are good for like 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then it gets old.
Yeah, I see
time
that.
to play something else.
I tend to like them, but also feel like it really depends on who you're playing with. If there's anybody who's not a fan of those, it can really...
Yeah, I don't like them because I am so bad at them. Because I just know that if I'm dealt the wrong card that says I'm the bad guy, well, this is going to be a short game because I can't keep a straight face.
Good to know.
There are some people, though, who really love games like that. I know Derek likes games like that.
Oh, yeah.
If you have family that you think can handle it, and you are a board gamer, the holidays can be an opportunity to introduce your family to the next level of gaming. You can help your family to evolve from games like Monopoly or Sorry and move them to the next level. There are games like Carcassonne and Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride. These are still strategy games where your choices matter on a lower difficulty level. And all of these games still have that element of chance that is good for beginner gamers.
Yeah.
Carcassonne is a game that our family kind of latched onto. The premise of the game is that you are each town builders, and each turn you draw a tile, and your goal is to build roads and establish cities. That's another game that has lots of variations and lots of expansion packs. Mm-hmm. And so you can make that game as advanced or as complicated as you want it to be. The first time I played it, I bought it in the Carcassonne Big Box, which comes with 4 expansion packs in it. And when our family started playing it, we added on the river, and then Momo and Papa bought Carcassonne South Seas, which is just kind of a reskin that included fishing and bananas, I think. It was like an island version instead of, just this kind of pastoral, green, rolling fields kind of feel instead. Settlers of Catan is another town-building resource management game, too. Ticket to Ride is about establishing railways across the country. So all of those introduce aspects that more advanced board games will focus higher on. They're kind of like an introductory version of these certain board gaming genres, like resource management or worker placement games. Each of those kind of Euro board games has its own kind of categories or genres.
Yeah.
And so there are beginner games in each of those genres that can help people to understand what that style of game is like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the time where we as a group, we as My Mythical Meta, would be remiss to not mention Magic the Gathering. It is a one-on-one game in its purest form as it was originally conceived, but there are multiplayer variants of it, and if you want to introduce people to the building blocks of a game like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon trading cards, be sure that your family members or whatever are ready for a bit of strategic depth to their game or are interested in learning more rules before you introduce games like these.
Right.
I feel like games in this category, they're going to take 15 to 20 minutes maybe to explain before playing. Maybe not that long for games like Carcassonne or Settlers, but, our family did latch on to Carcassonne really hard. And we played Carcassonne for maybe 2 or 3 years, like nonstop. Momo in particular got addicted to it, I think.
Yeah.
Because she and Papa started playing it one-on-one.
Yeah, I remember that. They had all the expansions and it was kind of cute seeing
I know.
seeing them level up their gaming.
Yeah, it was pretty neat to see them pull out a Euro board game rather than just one of the original Parker Brothers.
Right.
One last category is video games. Our technology is everywhere. Our phones are more powerful than the space shuttle. There's lots of gaming that can be done electronically, either through your phones or through your gaming consoles. So we did want to bring up some video games that do a great job of bringing people together. our gaming group, we love Jackbox. I know that it's available on Switch and Xbox. That's how I have access to it.
PC. I believe it is available on PlayStation as well. So I think pretty much all gaming consoles has access to it.
And there's lots of them. I want to say there's like 8 versions
if not
of
more by
Jackbox
now.
at this time. And they're all being updated and adding on categories and questions just all the time.
Yeah, and each Jackbox game has a collection of games within it. So there's probably, 5 to 6 games to play within each one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, each Jackbox has 5 to 6 different games to play within that are always being updated. They're fully voiced with announcers, and each game is kind of like a game show. But what's cool is that only one person has to have the game, and then infinity number of people can play by joining in on their phone. They'll go to a website, put in the room code, and then you can have an endless number of participants, because a lot of the rounds will be things like voting on which one was the funniest or which one they think was right. There are bluffing games, apples to apples games, straight trivia. There are drawing games, even musical challenges.
It's good variety.
There's a huge variety in the Jackbox collections. And even somebody who joins in late, they can come in and still join as audience members. So they can still vote. They can jump into the game as soon as they arrive. So I think Jackbox is a really great selection of video games for families and for group gaming. Nintendo, I think, is a gaming company in particular that does a good job with party games. Things like Wii Sports, but I think it's just called Nintendo Switch Resort or something like that. Or Switch Sports Resort is the newest version of it. But it's got tennis, it's got boxing, it's got bowling. I think there's a sword fighting game now. There's just a little bit of everything. And Nintendo in particular has done a great job of that.
Yeah.
Racing games, I think, are pretty easy for most people to kind of get into. Things like Mario Kart. And then a huge collection of mobile games. Kristen and I used to play Heads Up on car rides. It names a category, and then the person holds their phone up to their forehead. And then that person is the guesser. So the other people are trying to describe what's on their phone, and then you're just trying to get as many as you can within a minute or whatever. But Kristen and I would do this on car rides to practice humdingers in Cranium.
Oh.
There's a category in Cranium called Humdinger where it gives you a song title, and you have to hum it, and the other person has to guess it. And so Kristen and I would just do music categories where it would name a song, and we would do just long car rides doing humdingers using that Heads Up game. So that was a lot of fun too.
That was always my worst in Cranium.
That's your worst category?
I'm so bad with music. It doesn't matter if it's new, old, like I don't know the names of songs.
Yeah.
So sometimes like I would be the one having to hum it and I'm like, I don't know what the song is.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
It was really funny one time. The song was, I think the song is literally called Get Up Off That Thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And Kristen kept guessing, and she would go, get up off that chair, get up off the floor, get up off the table. And she just I couldn't. So she had the song, but she couldn't get generic enough.
That's funny.
To get the title right. It was a lot of fun.
You were talking about all those Nintendo ones. Did you mention Mario Party?
Oh my gosh, no. It even has party in the name.
Yeah. Okay. Just
checking.
checking.
It's just a huge collection of mini games. If you want to see how people react to good and bad luck, Mario Party is a great way to play. If you want to see how people react to unfair catch-up mechanics like bonus stars.
I knew that was coming.
That's my biggest gripe with Mario Party, is that I'm always winning until the bonus stars come up at the end. They just give other people stars for nothing, and then I lose. So it doesn't matter how good you are at all the mini games. All that matters is nothing. Life is meaningless.
Really matters to me.
Listen, jokes aside, Mario Party is a great game, and anybody can play it.
Yeah.
And the game is going to explain the rules. It's clearly not going to let you break them, because it's a video game.
Right.
Okay, do you guys want to do our news?
Yes.
News from the Warfront. All right, in the holiday spirit, we found a post on our board games that said, which game would you love to find under the Christmas tree? And which one would you buy for somebody else? My first thing is that it would depend on if I actually game with this person. Because the people that I game with, I actually don't see the benefit of having a lot of overlap in... Yeah, duplicates or overlap in game ownership. For example, Derek owns Last Night on Earth. I don't need to buy a copy for myself because he has it, and he's probably the person that I would be playing with anyway. So, as we're kind of answering this question, you guys are free to modify it however you want. The first one, the game that I don't own, that I want to own, guys, I really want to see what Cthulhu Death May Die is all about.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a pandemic-style game where the board kind of does its own thing and works against you, and it's yours and the table's job to figure out how to stop the great old gods from rising or whatever. And if you've listened to just about any episode of this podcast, you know that I'm a big fan of the pandemic style of gaming.
Right. Of
cooperative games, and pandemic in particular. So I would love a game with that strategy that has all of these super intricate, detailed miniatures. That's half the reason I want this game. It's just all the minis that I could repurpose for Dungeons and Dragons monsters or characters or investigators or whatever.
I'm very guilty of that. Just
yeah,
buying games for the minis and like, I'm never gonna play this game.
I know. And Randy, I really am sorry we couldn't get to Nemesis Lockdown last time we played. But
no, it's fine.
Having the baby with us really put learning a new board game kind of out of reach for that weekend.
And I was honestly really like, let's complete the first trilogy of Scream.
It was cool that we could get through all 3 movies that weekend.
Yeah.
It's still on the list. That's another game that has a bunch of great miniatures. Benjamin, how about you? What's a game that you want that you don't have yet?
Yeah, I was thinking about this.
Let me get out my notebook.
Right. There's a few games that I've played that I don't own and I think would like to, or some ones that I've heard so many good things about that I think it's just time. And so some of these are Wingspan. I feel like it's one of those.
And Wingspan has showed up. It has showed up on the comments of this thread too.
Yep, that makes sense. It's just everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. In a similar vein, Gloomhaven is one that I see everywhere.
What is the premise of Wingspan?
You're getting a collection of birds. I honestly don't know. I'm just so intrigued. I think that's actually it. Like your birds score points. They can get food. You can breed them and get eggs and stuff. And basically you're just trying to score the most points.
There are some board games out there where you hear the concept of it and you're like, that's your board game?
Right.
But I'll never forget, I'm almost certain I played it with you once, where the goal of the board game is to have the best Japanese vacation. Was that you?
There's one where the goal is to have the best tableau. You play as a Japanese artist.
Right. What is that vacation board game?
I don't know. I've never heard of it before. My nephews have Wingspan and they like it.
The game is called Tokaido.
Huh.
Each player is a traveler crossing the East Sea Road, one of the most magnificent roads of Japan. Your goal is to hit all of the best spaces in the best order.
I'm intrigued. I'd never heard of it before. Okay, Splendor and Azul, both. Dominion. These are all games I've played that I'm really interested in.
We played Azul together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Let's get it.
I have it.
Oh, you have it. Okay, well then then I don't need it. Then we can just play it together.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games that I don't have, and it's really funny that I don't have it, but it's just because I always played someone else's copy of it, is a game called 1960. It's all about the election of 1960, which until the year 2000 and then again in 2016 was the closest election in American history. And it still might actually be the closest election as far as popular vote goes. One of you plays as Richard Nixon and one of you plays as John F. Kennedy, and you are trying to get electoral votes, and you start kind of early in the campaign season, and you just go around the country buying ads and doing all this stuff. And it's a card-driven game, so it's very similar to Twilight Struggle, which is a much more famous game, which I do have. But just the whole conceit of the game to me is really fun, and it's one of those cool games where I like it, and I've played it enough to know that it's a game I would play often if I had someone to play with. It's a game I would love a copy of. And then the last one I'm going to mention as far as wanting is Robo Rally.
Robo Rally? What's that?
It's a game where you build robots and go race them around the board. It was made by Richard Garfield.
Oh, cool.
So when he was making Magic, that was kind of a little side project. He was trying to get funding for Robo Rally. And Robo Rally is actually his, like, pride and joy. And he self-published it once he made all his money from Magic. Yeah.
To have your side project fund your baby, and then your side project was, world renowned.
So I've just always been fascinated by Robo Rally. If Richard Garfield, PhD, loved this game more than Magic, then maybe I should check it out.
And it's probably pretty good.
Yeah, it's got great reviews on Amazon. It's got 5 stars. Board Game Geek has it as one of their top board games.
Has it at 7.1.
Board Game Geek does?
On Board Game Geek, yeah.
That's pretty good. It's one of those, I'm really curious about it. I'd love to try it. I don't think it takes super long. You get to play with little robot miniatures.
Sounds cool.
Cool. As far as games I'd want to give others, I would give people my copy of Kill Shakespeare.
Give it away, give it away, give it away.
Stole my
now.
joke. I was going to make the same joke.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, I would. We just played a game called Golden Ticket, which is a Willy Wonka themed strategy game.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. It's simple. Again, it's a kid's game. But basically, you try to buy as much chocolate as possible so that at the end, you open all your chocolate bars and see if you have the golden ticket.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds cute.
Yeah, it was fun. All the kids could play it.
Cool. Great choices.
Thanks.
Randy,
All right.
top us off.
I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. So a game I would give to someone is a game that we recently played called Horrified American Monsters.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was a lot of fun. 1 to 5 players. You're just stereotypical people in small American towns, and you're basically trying to fend off Bigfoot, a Wendigo, Chupacabra, things like that.
The Banshee.
Yeah, there's a Banshee, the Mothman. It was a really fun cooperative game. I think that would be a fun one to give to someone.
It was fun. The characters that you play are like...
The Jock.
Yeah, imagine you're in some stereotypical, horror movie about one of these monsters.
Very 80s.
Yeah, very pulp 80s. So it's like, here's the sheriff.
The cryptozoologist.
The mountain man, the jock, the scoutmaster, stuff like that. So it was really cute.
I think one was like a clairvoyant.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You just go down to your neighborhood Cleo.
Your neighborhood charlatan.
Yeah.
So that one was a lot of fun. So that would be something that I would give to someone. 2 that I'm interested in. 1 is Final Girl. The only downside I see on that one is that it's a single player game, but it does look like fun. You're playing the final girl from your 70s, 80s slasher films, so you're playing the non-copyright version.
Right.
But
yeah.
it looks like there's a bunch of expansions for it now to cover everything from like The Thing to Xenomorphs and Alien, Jason and Leatherface.
I'm pretty sure I saw a Hellraiser one.
I mean, it looks like they have like 15 or more different expansions for it. So that one looks pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that. But for a multiplayer version of that, I just found one called Mixtape Massacre. And it looks like it's kind of like the Horrified, where like you have like different role cards and then different abilities that you get to play. So, but it's kind of that very deep 80s, pop culture-y kind of thing as well. And my girlfriend's gotten me into horror movies a lot these last couple years.
Oh yeah, Nikki loves horror movies, and you've gotten me into all those horror movies.
They're fun. I used to be so scared of scary movies, and now
too.
I can laugh them off. I enjoy the thrill sometimes.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, that would be my 3. So Mixtape Massacre, Final Girl, and Horrified American Monsters.
That's awesome. That was a really fun question, because it's not only us talking about games that we already know, but also us kind of looking forward to the future of the games that we can add and leave the shrink wrap on until we die. Benjamin, hit us with some words of wisdom.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to make this one short because basically this whole thing was the nice words of wisdom where during the holiday season, it's always good to accept that we are expected to spend time with family and really lean into it. Repair some old relationships if you have to, but bring some games with you and try to make some time to connect with the people around you, to find something you have in common, find ways to have fun, find ways to build that propinquity that Travis was talking about. and just to build a shared communal experience that y'all can cherish for the rest of your lives. And if it's not been part of your family up to now, it's never too late, right? It's never too late to build those shared memories. So go for it. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year.
Love that. It's never too late until it's too late.
Until it's too late, yeah. So don't let it get there.
Keep that in mind, y'all. It's never too late until it is. All right, Randy, any words of wisdom from you?
Oh, no, never.
Do either of you want to channel Derek today? Any words of anti-capitalism for the Christmas season? Nobody wants to advocate for handmade gifts?
Ugh.
If you've made a game before, please.
That's fair.
If you want to try out Martian Colony, you can email us.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of having made games.
Having made a game, if you want to try out our mecha role-playing game, our original mecha role-playing game, Martian Colony, you can email us at mymythicalmeta@eldoradogaming.com. Of course, if you have any questions or suggestions for episodes or questions about sticky social situations, you can email us or leave comments on our YouTube channel, Spotify, or anywhere you get our podcasts. Remember to like, share, subscribe, send it to all your friends. Please help us get more subscribers before the new year.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. We will talk to you next time.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This episode was sponsored by Eldorado Gaming. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This episode was edited by me, Travis Konishek, and our intro and outro music is by Tyler Heath of the Oh Hellos.